honey bomb is going to be huge. And I'm thinking maybe we could run a contest and then have a few people, the winners, win a Truth AM small AM transmitter, so we can start, transmitting the show out to our local towns and spread the truth that way.
That is a good idea, because those are kind of pricey. The only problem is that if we do that and we run a contest, I don't know how many people are going to be hip enough to set those up. I mean, obviously you sound pretty tech savvy.
I think y'all could. Yeah, I think we could figure out, people that would enter it, could get it going, and then the last thing, it'd be a good thing for Operation Infowar Independence Day, buddy.
that wouldn't be a bad thing for Operation, and that's coming up. I mean, we're now in June 1st. We're talking about less than 5 weeks to prepare what you're going to do on the 4th of July. How are you going to be an Infowar? Are you going to burn DVDs? Are you going to set out a flyer? Are you going to do some highway blogging? Are you going to do more than just wave a flag, have a barbecue, and act like everything's all right, because everything ain't all right? Are you going to hand out the Obama deception? I mean, what? You can do a lot. Go ahead.
All right, sorry about that. And in the end of all this, I think in the end, when the 9/11 truth finally comes out, if there's a chance the Fed ever gets audited, and I think Americans will be demonized because they're too ignorant to see all this going on.
Well, we could be demonized in the bigger equation to bring in world government, my friend. I mean, at some point, if they were to have these trials, they would demonize us, much like Nazi Germany, only it's not like Nazi Germany because there's such a technocracy, and they'd probably take away our military or, amalgamate the military into NATO law and say, look, this nation just had too much power, and look what happened. When you have nations with this much power, they carry out things like 9/11 and global dominance. We need a world government to save us. That may be part of the plan. Let's hope not. Let's hope that's not where it goes to bring the truth out. That would be very unfortunate. I thank you for the call. Let's go to Greg in Arkansas. Greg, you're online.
Hey, this is Greg.
How you doing, man?
I'm fine. I just had a question on I've seen your YouTube clip on the right to remain silent. I wondered why they would take our right to remain silent away from us.
So that they can charge you. All right. First of all, it's already happened many, many times that police are corrupt. They lie to their prisoner. They say their lawyer's on the way. They hold them for the mandatory amount. They say they did this. They say they confessed. They say that they waived their right to a lawyer. But now, in retrospect, that can all happen. It can be proven that it happened, and they'll just say, oh, we're throwing it out. We're not throwing it out because they no longer have the right to invoke an attorney. And if you read that article, and that article, let me see if I have it right in front of me. I know it's close enough where I can grab it, and, we can read it right here. It's very Orwellian. I mean, at one point, they're telling you, you have no Miranda rights, you have no you have no right to an attorney, you have no right to your personal property, but then it says, oh, it's only in certain circumstances, and in most circumstances, everything is going to be okay. And did you notice that the media barely covered it? I didn't see it on any news programs. I read it off a writer's newswire, and we're literally now, tomorrow will be its 1-week anniversary since its inception. It's probably the last article I have down here. Where is it? I don't even know where it is. I must have dropped it, man. I had it somewhere in here. Oh, here it is right here. Supreme Court rules police can initiate suspects questioning. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled on Tuesday that police, under certain circumstances, can initiate an interrogation of a suspect without the defendant's lawyer being present. By a 5-4 vote, the conservative majority overruled a 23-year-old Supreme Court decision that barred the police from initiating questioning after a defendant asserted the right to an attorney, an arraignment, or similar proceedings. So right there, you say, I want a lawyer, I'm shutting up. They had to stop, or they were supposed to stop. Otherwise, there could be, the trial could be thrown out. Could have been a miscarriage of justice, blah, blah, blah. Could have got off at a technicality. Now that's no longer the case. The 1986 decision held that once a defendant invoked the right to counsel, only the suspect and not the police can initiate the contact. The ruling was the latest in a recent string by conservative justices expanding the power of police to question suspects because they want to expand the power of police. They want the police state to grow and grow and grow. The real question you should be asking yourself is, how could this pass, number one, and why isn't the media in an uproar over it? Why isn't this one of the biggest stories out there? Why isn't 9 out of 10 people that you stop on the street and ask about this have no idea, Greg?
Yeah. I know what you mean, man, because I've been trying to tell people how stuff's going on, and they don't want to listen to nothing about it.
I mean, this is a mainline article. This is out of Reuters. This is right in the headline. Supreme Court rules police can initiate suspects questioning. Miranda rights are dying. I mean, they're dead in this article, but they say they're not dead. They're dead, but they're not dead. Everything's okay. So, show people the article and let them think for themselves, but most lemmings will just be like, you know what, man, there's a NASCAR race on. I ain't interested. I thank you for the call, Greg. We're going to jump to Chris in Indiana. Chris, you're online. Yes, Chris. Or it's Iowa.
Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
It's Iowa.
Yep.
I was wondering, what do you think the effect on everybody having to put up with this constant absurdity being thrown around? Like the article you're just reading. We're taking everything, but it's going to be all right.
Mm-hmm. It's a numbing effect. It makes me numb. That's it. I mean, we just start accepting things. Oh, a police officer choked an EMT. It's not a big deal. Oh, a woman had to die because the cop pulled him over and he didn't have his tags. And sure, the ambulance or the car was only a mile or so away from the hospital, but that woman just had to die because our lords, they said that he was in trouble. So it's to acclimate us to this police state. It's to acclimate us to the outrageousness of authority, man.
I think everybody who is in the truth movement, whether they're truthers or whatever they're trying to do, they need to get their hands on a copy of Propaganda by Ed Bernays.
Yes.
And read the whole thing like 2 times, because after I read it halfway through it, I started realizing the whole book is written in the form in which it's trying to teach you it.
Yeah, and after a while, he's bragging about it. It literally brags about how. Listen, people need to understand that you are susceptible to mind control. I hate to tell you, you're not a strong-willed person. Everybody falls for it. I fall for it too. I fall for advertising. I fall for every trick that Bernays puts out. But you have to be aware of it. You have to try to disseminate it. You have to at least know when they're telling you that the high fructose corn syrup is good for you, that it's not good for you, and it's cut with mercury.
Yeah, but you're sitting there watching 2 women have a small conversation. One of them is using what they heard on television to actually manipulate the other person into becoming submissive through the idea that they're no longer part of the group.
That's right. They'll ostracize them from society. It's the fear of no longer being accepted that people go along. Oh, I won't be accepted if I talk about this.
Yeah, you see it 6 to 7 times, and pretty soon, how many times I found myself actually talking about something I saw on television.
As if you knew it was true.
You're just taught to act like this.
Karl Rove was not that far off, my friend, when he said we create reality. We create perception. And unfortunately, that is the case. Final segment coming up. It's the Infowarrior, prisonplanet.tv, Infowars.com.